Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. I hope it finds you well today. What about the game yesterday? There's lots to talk about after that game yesterday, lots to talk about, and I think that it is the fact that we didn't perform our best once again. Absolutely cracking goal by Callum McGregor. Anybody that says that Callum McGregor is not the man for the middle of the park needs to have their head looked at. I think it's 7 goals this season for Calmac. And you've got to say, Callum McGregor knows how to strike a ball for the edge of the box, and it was a cracker as far as I'm concerned. It was a cracker of a goal. I think he was unlucky just a couple of minutes before it. I think it was lucky just a couple of minutes before it. Handball, come on, Anton Rogan's left foot. We'll get to that in a minute. We will get to that in a minute because there's a couple of videos I want you to watch. There is a couple of videos that I want you to watch. Decent performance from the boys, had a few decent chances to score in the first half. Lanky, I thought we we'll talk about that later. There's things that we need to talk about first, and we'll get this first video up. Now, I don't know if you might know this channel if you're doing the rounds on YouTube. It's a guy that's been around for a lot of years. And subscribe to his channel if you haven't. It's an interesting one at the end of the game yesterday when Kasper Schmeichel is obviously upset with the handball decision. The fact that VAR looked at it and they were given the goal. I thought it was a handball. You can see Schmeichel saying that it came off his arm. Brendan Rodgers, there's McInnes, fucking full of laughs, moaning his head off after the game, of course. And then Brendan Rodgers comes and tells the keeper. I wonder what Brendan Rodgers said. He's like, come on, mate, we won the game, bugger them. That's at the end of the day. We won the game at the end of the day, and that's it. But it is a decision. It was, for me, when I looked at it on the telly, it was a handball. The ball changes direction, completely changes. Excuse me. I was at the game and thought it was a handball, saw the highlights last night, and it wasn't a handball. I'm baffled why we're missing so many chances. Lanky, the ball changes direction. The ball completely changes direction. Now, if you could say it comes off his body, but for me it was a handball. I've seen it given other ways. There was another one that I saw on Twitter last night that was a very similar one. But anyway, that game should have been 6-1 yesterday. Yeah, it should have been 6-1. It should have been a lot easier than what it was. We just can't put away chances. Yep, we can't put away chances. And we're going to look at this said chance because we have video of it. And I'll just get it up there. We'll just make it as big as we can. I'm just going to that's not that one. Zoom right in on the player. Make it as big as we can. There we go. And then we can do this just by magic. Let me just see. Right. So right, we'll play it from the start. You see the ball coming into the player there. I mean, he does have one arm. I mean, it depends which way. I mean, it's not a great angle for seeing it. But, I mean, it completely changes the direction of the ball. Completely changes direction of the ball. I'll just speed this up a bit. There we go. See it from this angle here. That's a handball to me. That's a handball all day long. That's a handball. He's got his other arm out. He's got his right arm out. For me, it's a handball. He pulls his arm back in. For me, it's a handball. You look at it there. I see the player coming in. I mean, it looks like both of his arms are kicking out to me. To me, it looks. I mean, you look at it, the players are shouting for it straight away. Straight away, the Celtic players are shouting for it. And if it's not a handball, if it's not a handball, why is Schmeichel at the end of the game demonstrating with the referee? It's an interesting one, but at the end of the day, we won the game. We weren't complaining when Motherwell had a goal given against Rangers when it broke off the hand of the Motherwell and scored. Yeah, I'm just saying that it needs looked at. Plus his arm tucked into his body. Well, it's just a talking point, is it? It's a talking point. We shouldn't be relying on VAR decisions. Poor finishing was the real story. Yes, it was. But there was another story which came out yesterday, which I think that I need to get the images. I need to turn that down because I can hear myself. 2 seconds till I just get these images up from the Green Brigade yesterday. Slideshow. Nope, that's the wrong one. Do this. I mean, I try to do live telly. What did I just delete there? I deleted something I shouldn't have. Add image. Alright, so where's these? A New Year message from the Green Brigade. New Year's message from the Green Brigade. And we'll get it up here. And then I'll get it on the screen so that we could read it. And then image 2. Image 2. And that is the second page. There we go. Shove that one out the way. So a New Year's message from the Green Brigade yesterday. Now I fully stand behind the Green Brigade, and I mean I'm back to Green Brigade and everything that they do. And I've asked over the last couple of months. I've had people that have been in the section for numerous years, and the people that have been in the section since the beginning, and are currently staying down in Australia. And they went back for a holiday. They're in Australia working for a year. And they went back for a holiday, and I spoke to them about the difference between the section back in the day and the section now. So it'll be interesting to see this message from the Green Brigade. As we begin the new year, Celtic maintains a dominant lead in the league while chasing another treble. However, this dominance on the pitch is sadly unmatched in the stands, prompting us to make this plea. In 2016, Celtic became the first club on these shores to reintroduce standing at top flight football. The standing section brought a buzz to Celtic Park, thanks to everyone contributing, revolutionising the atmosphere and advancing ultras culture across the country. I wish they wouldn't say culture, because that's a zombie thing to say, isn't it? It's all about our culture. I wish they hadn't said that. And it says, as we approached 10 seasons of the standing, 10 years of the standing section. Jesus, that's went quick, isn't it? I remember when we were just a wee merry bunch of men up the top. As we approach 10 seasons of the standing section, its influence has unfortunately regressed. There's multiple reasons for this, some which we take responsibility for as the Ultras group leading this section. However, the responsibility to back the team is with us all. Ultras were introduced as a different style of support in 2006, one that continues and we enjoy, we believe, its effect. However, we appreciate this style isn't for everyone at times. Therefore, we are beyond the point of expecting 3,000 hands in the air and bouncing on the spot, staying side to side and doing the huddle, despite it being common in the early years of the standing section. Yes, it was. Therefore, we are asking for 4 things. Sing, be vocal, back the team, harass the opposition, clap to the songs, create more noise, stay until the team leaves the pitch and show your appreciation. Keep your phone in your pocket and contribute to the moment. That's the first page of the statement for the Green Brigade, and it's quite funny when I read it. It's not funny at all, because I can remember when the standing section came into fruition down the bottom hand for the full corner, the full north curve, and it was always going to be an animal that got out of control. And I can remember speaking to a very senior member of the Green Brigade that is still a good friend of mine, and he was a senior member of the Green Brigade for 13 years, and we spoke about the problematic issues that the section could come into, and I think that the fact that it doesn't bode well for me, the fact that in the second page, that the whole standing section isn't together. It is a section of two halves. You have the top half of the section. Now, they're not having a go, remember, they're not having a go at normal fans here. Before you all start jumping on the bandwagon and before you start complaining about the Green Brigade telling other fans out with the section what to do, they're not complaining about people out with the standing section here. They're complaining about people in the standing section. So let's get that right, because I know that a lot of people will get pissed off. Oh, who the fuck do they think they are? They're talking about the North Curve, right? They're talking about the North Curve here. So before put your big boy pants back on and just listen to me, all right? I sit near the boys, they're non-stop full game. I just wish the board would listen and give the fans regarding the Celtic wall. Well, Lanky, that's one of the things that I'll talk about in a second. But the second half of the message goes a little something like this. It's a song, isn't it? We'll get the back page. We don't want to patronise anyone about the importance of backing the team. However, lazy, complacent and spoiled attitudes have affected the support. Even on European nights, which they have, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, because as a TV spectacle and having sat both sides of the fence, having sat in the standing section, having sat out with the standing section, and then having sat this side of the telly, I think that I've got enough experience to have fair comment on this one, because I've been in the thick of all three now over the last 15 years. However, lazy, complacent and spoiled attitudes have affected our support, even on European nights. While many factors contribute to this, the unavoidable truth is that we can do better for our team. In 2016, we introduced the North Curve to bridge the gap between the Green Brigade and other fans in the standing section. 2016 is when we got the North Curve in total. I haven't moved down from the top section of 111, which I think was a better section, to be honest. But anyway, we move on. The initiative has been successful with visible achievements such as the murals and the concourse. However, the North Curve has also stagnated, hindered by restrictions and poor engagement from the club. But simply put, the board does not want a larger active fan movement, but knows they can't stop the evolution of fan culture. I wish I hadn't said that culture word. It's a bit off-putting to me. Celtic Park on the brink of transition. I don't think it is. Here comes the agenda. And they had the agenda back to get the North Curve, and I stood by them with that. But as far as the Celtic wall is concerned, I'm going to give you the pros and cons from somebody that's been in both. I'll give you the pros and cons from my perspective. Just a minute. Celtic Park is on the brink of transition. The stadium needs to be refreshed. Facilities, tickets and culture. A unified goal standing section, the Celtic end, is the solution to many frustrations. And season ticket holders have backed the concept through a recent survey. Very exciting. It may take years to achieve. Until then, we focus on supporting our team from our current area. As always, we thank everyone for your continued support and for what we do, including the various social projects. Everything we do is made possible by your support. We wish you all a happy new year until the last rebel. Green Brigade, Celtic. Interesting. And I'll just put this up there. Where's my keys, actually? 2 seconds. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. So, interesting, isn't it? They're telling fans that may have sat there for longer than them. Anton Rogan's left foot. People that stayed, there's not many people that remain to stay in the standing section. So there isn't many people who decided to remain in the standing section. And yeah, this is a trouble and nonsense. You always love it when you get people that don't like the Green Brigade. And there's not many of these still hanging about. I wonder how many of these are still hanging about. That focus on that. Yeah, I'm going that's out of focus again. Not many of them kicking about. Still got it on my keyring to this day. Yeah, there'll not be many of them still kicking around all these years later, because we're coming up for nearly 20 years. 20 years of the Green Brigade. So yeah, I don't want this to split fans, because they're basically talking about, and I don't want it to split the comments. I don't want it to split the comments in here, because they're talking about the section, and they're talking about fans not doing what they joined the section for, and the majority is going on in the bottom half of the section. So I fully appreciate what they're trying to do, but it's not just the Green Brigade section that needs to get its finger out. And I'm sitting watching that yesterday, and we were sitting in a pub watching it, and I mean, the Green Brigade weren't that loud. I've heard the Green Brigade, I've heard them a lot louder at games on the telly, and they weren't that loud on the telly yesterday. And the fans around the stadium, it was non-existent. It was non-existent in such an important game, a Scottish Cup game, when the team. Now, if Kyogo sticks one of his missed chances away the first half, if Rio Hatate sticks away the sitters that he missed, we'll go on to them in a minute, the atmosphere might have been a bit different. But let's get back to the good old days, where there was an atmosphere. There was an atmosphere before we scored the goal. Do you know what I mean? And I think, is it the case? Has our fan base turned into Man United fans? The boys were louder than the Green Brigade, Lanky. Yep, I know. 60 quid a ticket on Wednesday, says Alan. That's the price you pay for following modern day football, Alan. Do you know, it's like, people shouldn't, if they don't want to pay the money, they shouldn't go. Now, I've spent tens of thousands over the years following Celtic. And do you know, the media can turn it down, the stadium sound though. Chilpil, you see people sitting on their arses, and you see the faces on the telly. They're not singing. Do you know, I mean, you could see it. The North stand is unbelievable. Rio's champs for 2 years out, reminding me of Bratback against Dundee. Yeah, that's true. The prawn sandwich mob. Yeah, let's do sell me yours. I've got one. I could still get behind. My brother's still got 2 season tickets for us. Start a poll. Now, this is a comment. This is a comment that a Man United captain. Why the fuck did that just delete? This is a comment that our Man United captain that came to Celtic said, and it was basically has our fans turned into Man United fans? And the reason that I'm saying that, right, the reason that I am saying that is, why is it not starting? Like that. Start the poll. Let's do a little poll and get your feedback. Man United fans, Roy Keane, Anton Rogan's left foot, Roy Keane said that the Man United fans have turned into prawn sandwich brigade, and with the evolution of more and more fans, more tickets, blocks of tickets being sold to companies that sell them to tourists, has our fan base become a prawn sandwich brigade fan base and not singing? And this, I expect this to turn to split this one. Has our fans turned into Man U fans? Yes or no? And I mean this in the sense that the fact that the whole stadium doesn't sing the way that it used to in the early 2000s. You think back to the Martin O'Neill years where the stadium was bouncing. Even after the Green Brigade came into existence, the whole stadium was still bouncing for many, many years. It's only over the last, since COVID, I'd say, that I've seen a dramatic change in the stadium. We're all headed to we're all singers in a corner. Oh, Jesus. Roy Keane slamming prawn sandwich brigade, comment Baz. Yes, Mr. Quinn. It is. And I think that our fan base have gotten too used to success. Success breeds success, it's true, but it also breeds a level of fan that doesn't go on supporters, and I think this is a big thing to do with it as well. I think that the fact that more people drive to the games themselves, a lot of people drive to the games themselves, and they don't go on supporters buses, so they don't have that big group of folk that they go to games with. You know, they go to the games, they leave early to try and beat the traffic, and that's getting worse. I mean, I never used to leave early when I was getting the bus. You never left early. I mean, I've got pictures of me being one of the last coming out of Celtic Park on my Facebook in February 2020, just before I moved here. But I just think that anyway, when it comes to it, Barcelona have 15,000 weekly or bi-weekly ticket exchange for fans who can't manage or sell their tickets. Works every home game. That's interesting. That's interesting. As long as we don't end up like Man United shite. Jim F, I don't think that we'll end up like Man United, but I'm just saying, when you look at the comment that Roy Keane, and the way that I'm comparing the comment Roy Keane made at the time, because Man United were coming out of a successful period under the legend, the manager that they had in Alex Ferguson. It was the Alex Ferguson League, the English Premiership in those days. I mean, for the amount of times that they won the league and they won doubles, and they were winning the Champions League, they were the most successful thing going. Celtic have had, or are still going through that very similar vein. It's hard to see when Celtic will not be successful, because the business, the way that the club is run, is completely different to Man United. So let's get that out there. I mean, Celtic will always have a successful run club. That's not going to change. There's nothing that's going to change to me that says that our owner's not going to ever sell his shares. The majority shareholder, he's not the owner. The majority shareholder's never going to sell his shares. The two guys from Scotland that own the second and third amount of shareholders, they're never going to sell their shares. So there's no chance of a major takeover at Celtic. The share price would have to go absolutely bonkers. But with the success that we've had, and the level of football that the players have played to get that success and maintain that success, when the players have an off day, when the players don't reach the peak performance, it seems to. When was your first game at Celtic? Mine was 1958. It was either late 70s or early 80s. I'm not exactly sure. I was too young to know my age. Remember, my dad, Roy Aitken, was at the club at the time, so I would say it was the early 80s. Early 80s. Man U's run by a used businessman, not a farm. Yeah, exactly, Jim. But anyway, we move on for that. Let's get to the game. You've got a few years on us. Yeah. My dad was only born in 1953. Anyway, so yeah, have our fans turned into Man United fans. That one will split the fans. Sunday morning, my first time attending Paradise was 1988. Lanky, I'm ahead of you on that one. Scottish Cup final 1988. What a nice sunny day at Hampden. Oh, Hampden in the sun, Dundee United. Oh, I hate seeing the stadium empty seats. Yeah, I don't think the issue was empty seats yesterday. I don't think the issue was empty seats. It didn't look as if there was many empty seats yesterday. I think yesterday was basically just the club. A successful club will always get those supporters that only focus on success and don't know the true heart and soul of the club, says Jason Quinn. I have always said, and people don't like this, people that go to games now, but everyone that I speak to that was at games then have the same opinion as me. Some of the best years following Celtic as a fan were under the Ronnie Dyler years. Absolutely brilliant years. You could get tickets for away games, no issues whatsoever. You could get as many tickets as you wanted for semi-finals. I mean, I was talking to Joe down at the Hoops Bar Guardamar last night, and I mean, he was saying that he reckons that the home ticket cup scheme is now sitting at around 35 to 40,000 fans on the home ticket cup scheme. And that's why people that have went to games and that still go to games in every game, never miss a game, are now missing out on tickets to Hampden. They've been going to football for 20, 30, 40 years and they now cannot get tickets for Hampden and semi-finals and finals because there's that many people knowing that they need to get on the home ticket cup scheme thing. Anyway, 1976 with my brother in the jungle, the good old days. Yep. When you think about the jungle and the Old Spice comes to mind, there's a splashing of piss. Right? There was that. I never had a voice after being at a match. Couldn't speak for about 3 days. Yeah, exactly. That's when you know that you've been to the football. Does any of it matter? The team is still winning games, lifting trophies. This is more to do with the Brigade being famous for their atmosphere than the football. The Huns create an atmosphere. I don't think it's to do. The Green Brigade are having a dig at the people in the standing section. At this point, they're not having a dig at people outside the standing section. They're talking about people that are within that 3,000 fan base that are not singing and not. Yeah, they're too busy on their phones, but it is what it is. Anyway, we move on for it. Celtic midfielder Luke McCowan has already notched up 17 goal contributions this season, and we're still in January. That's why a goal or assist every 87 minutes. One reminder, we only played 1 million for him. After the game, always come back home with a sore throat and a new scarf. Yep. Yeah. Tell me about it. Always buying a new scarf. 6-2, unbelievable. 1-0 before I was at the ground, and that was a good game, a 6-2 game. Guys pissing in McEwen's lager cans. Oh, don't remind me. Jesus, they were the good old days. Eh? Right, let's finish that poll because it's not going to take off that one. It's quiet-ish this morning, but we'll just leave it there, won't we? Anyway, the game yesterday. The Green Brigade weren't meant to take over the comments, but it is what it is. Callum McGregor took to obviously doing his media duties after the game, and couldn't believe that it was only 2-1. When you look at the missed chances, yesterday, I think that it's no wonder that Brendan Rodgers is still thinking, and Brendan Rodgers has a dilemma. Brendan Rodgers now has a dilemma. Does he bring in a new striker and have the possibility of selling Kyogo? And I think that this is one of the dominoes that they are waiting on falling into place this particular transfer window. I think that if we get the striker that Brendan Rodgers really wants to come into the club, I think Celtic will allow Kyogo to move on, and for the region about £10 million. And I think that it's maybe time to freshen up. Although we brought in Adam Ida, I think that the manager will know that we need to, and Callum McGregor knows. Callum McGregor's been there and done it before. Callum McGregor's done it before. We were talking yesterday, and it was like, could you imagine if Lee Griffiths was in this team, the amount of chances he would put away? We missed a lot of sitters, and it's spreading through the players. Yes, and I think it is. And I was amazed, for one, for as good as Rio Hatate is, I was amazed for one yesterday how long that Rio Hatate. I was surprised that Rio Hatate stayed on the pitch the full game, because Rio Hatate, for me, he seems lost. Cal done well yesterday. I've been saying it all along. Calmac gets a lot of stick. Calmac does get a lot of stick as a Scottish player. We need a finisher, the likes of Hartson. One goal, one chance, one goal. Exactly. Exactly. Tony, what happens to most? Love Griffiths, he was a player. He was a fantastic player. And I don't know if he's still playing football down in Australia. I'm going to get this poll to 100 votes, and then I'm going to close it down. But yeah, Celtic definitely need a player that can put the ball in the back of the net. Notice that Kilmarnock spitting chips after the game. Again yesterday, it's just the Kilmarnock way, isn't it? Kilmarnock with social media team put up just after, during the game yesterday, I got this sent to me as well. Robbie McCrory is injured due to a kick to the head after 20 seconds. I was laughing, I'll be honest, I was pissing myself laughing in the pub. When I saw that, and I was like, kick to the head, playing the victim, and then they changed it. They deleted the tweet, and then they changed it. McCrory is injured after 20 seconds. Now the squirrels, vermin. Kilmarnock updated their tweet after saying that he was kicked to the head, the goalkeeper. But anyway, you might not have noticed that if you were at the game. Trusty yesterday, he was one that got praised by Brendan Rodgers, which was interesting after the dog's abuse. Brendan Rodgers was a bit of praise for Trusty after the game yesterday, which I thought was fine. It's hard to pick out any standard. No, that poll's at 104. I missed it, 105. I'll just end it. McCowan needs to start over Rio. Hatate was not pish. He made some excellent passes. I've never said he was pish. I just think that he goes missing in games sometimes. And when you're watching one player in particular, I think that he knows he can do better. Listen, we don't need to sit here and say Hatate's brilliant or Hatate's pish. See, when you see it on the telly, when Hatate misses his sitters, the first thing that he does is he turns around and looks at Brendan Rodgers. He doesn't look at anybody else at the team. He knows that it's some shiner the boy had. Yeah, Alan, it was some shiner. It was a complete accident, do you know what I mean? But a keeper will know that if he's going in when a player's running at pace and he's going in to get the ball from a player's feet, you're taking a big chance. How many sitters did we have yesterday? Has everyone counted them? I know, but what we can do is we can get the stats up, because I haven't looked at the stats from yesterday. We'll get the stats up from the game. Now, we had 18 shots in total. We had 7 on target. So that's saying that we had 11 sitters missed. Possession was 66%. And why has it not got the passes around? It doesn't give me any other stats. Why does it not give me any other stats? It's not going to give me any other stats today. Yeah, that's good of them. 1.5. Anyway, full time 2-1. And the only stats it gives me, it says we have 18 shots in total. We had 7 shots on target. We had 66% possession. And then it says we have 4 corners and 9 fouls. Gives me no other stats. Doesn't give me the past stats from yesterday. Never mind. I think we can all say that it was far too many chances. We can't. You can't defend 1 in 20 passes. Makes it. When you factor in Hitate's decent games, they're far few between. Time he was moved on. Hitate never looks happy. Hitate hides. Chilpel, you said it. I mean, I said it in the game yesterday. I've never seen a player. What worried me about the game yesterday, and what worried me about the formation, there was no. When you look at, I mean, no apologies to comparing this Celtic team to the success that we have had and were having to Alex Ferguson's all-conquering team at the time. Because when Fergie's team played 4-4-2 and they moved together in 2 banks of 4s, and you could always look at Fergie's teams and they were basically sitting in 2 banks of 4s. The Celtic midfield, it's hard to see what position that they should be playing in. Is it a straight 3 in the middle? Because Hitate's on the left, he's on the right, he's running about the centre of the field. He's not, for me, he doesn't make the right runs at times. But anyway, we seriously need to think about moving out of Scottish football. Let's face it, our hearts are in Ireland, so it should be easy to move to the English Championship and win it. Michael, that's a where. That's a where. We would move to the English Championship and win it. No, that will not be the case. Never move to England. We're a Scottish club. I hate that nonsense. I don't think that the England's not the be all and end all. It's not the be all and end all. McCown comes on and consistently looks for the ball. Yes, he does, Chilpel, and he's a player that, for me, I would actually say that Luke McCown, for the players being a similar age, has the potential to be the better player. Give Luke McCown the same run of games, right? Give Luke McCown the same run of games, and you could bet your bottom dollar that Luke McCown's stats will show that he's the better player. If you're to play the two of them in the same team for a run of 10 games, if you're to play Luke McCown and Rio Hitate in the exact same team for a run of 10 games, I bet you Luke McCown stats would add up better than Rio Hitate. That's just my view on it, and just laughing at it. Well, there's a ghost in the post. Sure, it wasn't a cheap one. Luke looks hungry every time he plays, says Andrew. He does that. Yeah, it does that. But anyway, Kyogo. We need to talk about Kyogo. We need to talk about the missed chances. Give McCown a year and we'll see how better he is, says Anton Rogan's left foot. Giving him a year is okay, but he's got to play. He's got to play week in and week out. Rio Hitate's played week in, week out. You've got to give them the same number of games and the same minutes of games to put in a straight comparison. I think Brendan Rodgers doesn't like McCown. Doesn't know what goes through his head at times. I think that he does like McCown, or he'd never have bought him. Until UEFA lose the stranglehold, no club is moving anywhere out with their own league. I don't think that moving to England is the be-all and end-all. I think that the European Championship format, the Champions League, the way that it's going, I would rather play in a European league than move down to England. When you go down to England, you've got to stay in the stadium. The police, see when you go to games and you go to away games, you get in and out of the stadiums in Scotland quite easily. When you go down to England, the buses are controlled by the police. The buses would even have to meet at Celtic Park. Every single bus that was going to an away game in England would have to get together at Celtic Park, no matter where you're leaving from in the country, and then they would all get a police escort to the game that they were going to in England, and then they would get kept in the game half an hour after the match. They would then be released, and then they would be put back on their buses and given a police escort to the county border or whatever. And I don't think that Celtic fans would enjoy that. I mean, when it goes to when you go to a European game, you're kept in for half an hour. We all know this, and you all expect it because it's European games. I think that the way forward for Celtic will be in a European competition, not moving to England. It will never happen. Never happen. And if it does happen, right, here's, for all yous that want to move to England with Celtic, I take it you don't want Scottish independence. Just saying. Because if you've got Scottish independence, you should never be able to get to play in English football. Never. I don't make no apologies about being, I mean, I've voted SNP back in the 1990s when it was unfashionable. But anyway, let's not talk about politics and football. Oh, Jesus. Look over Hattati every time, but it's an overreaction to say Rio's pish. I've never said Rio's pish. Ripped on. I've never said Rio's pish. Maybe somebody in the comments has, but I've never said Rio's pish. Never said his pish. Looks like Ross McCall. Oh, he does that. Anyway, I've been on for 42 minutes this morning. If you're just catching up with this, we're not moving anywhere, says Andrew. Yep. Well, not. Let me just see if there are any. There's no even any transfer speculations today. It's all gone a bit quiet on the transfer front with Celtic, which means we need to talk about Lewis Palmer, because Lewis Palmer not even been on the bench yesterday. Did anyone Rio's pish, says Andrew. Did anyone see Louis Palmer at the game yesterday? No. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for this morning. Thank you to Jim F, Andrew, Port Job Express, and Stevenson, Tarmac, Chilpill, Thomas, Andrew, Brown Warrior, Lanky, Anton Rogan's left foot, Lubo, Mr. Quinn, and Celtic #1, who also says Hattati's pish. That'll get the comments going. Anyway, have an absolutely fantastic day wherever you are, Celtic fans all around the world. Let's see if we can get this video today.
Roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to